in a world crying out for a top 10 show. John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. Looking forward to talking today about Martin Scorsese films, with The Irishman coming out really, really soon. We're excited to see the film. Of course, we're going to be reviewing it on the Top 10. That's for damn sure. And talking about where it belongs on the greatest films of Martin Scorsese's career. It might even mess up our own Top 10s. Might even sneak into the Top 5. We will see. But I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost.
Hey-o.
Thank you for, being so professional up top. That was beautiful, right to the point.
Yeah.
And I know I'm excited to be doing Scorsese. It's crazy this hasn't come up before.
I know, right? Well, he doesn't. To be fair, he doesn't release a lot of films.
True, but there have been weeks where, 52 weeks a year. I'd say 48 of them we can eventually settle on something, but there's an odd one every few months where it's like, I got nothing for this weekend.
Oh, good point. Right.
And we just didn't cherry pick. You know what? We've never done him before, and it's kind of crazy to me that it took this long.
Yeah. And do we know why we're doing Martin Scorsese besides The Irishman? Was it motivated by someone else who...
It was from one of our patrons, Drew Inns. And I'm trying to pull up the messages from there, and
okay.
The Patreon website is not loading the messages sections. I'm going to see if I can find it in our email account somewhere.
Okay.
But anyway, Drew Inns set us up. It was perfectly timed because we had looked at the schedule and we were like, we've never done, Scorsese, and he sent it as an idea.
Yeah,
like this movie's coming. Why not do that?
Yeah.
I'll keep reloading. But
sure.
Drew Inns is the one that sent it. I can't pull it. It didn't send it to our email account.
Bastards.
So thank you, Drew. Hopefully by the end of this, the website will be working. Otherwise, I will figure out a way for us to record it, and we will get your choices out into the world.
Yeah.
I do not see it as of right now, and I fully blame Patreon, not you.
Fair enough. How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah?
My wife admitted to me that she only listens to us, talk up top, and then she turns it off once the movies come on.
I'm shocked your wife listens at all.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Thank you, Catherine.
Well, she doesn't remember movies. The other day we were watching a TV show, and she's like, hold on, how is this character doing this? Because in the last episode this happened. I was like, well, that's because that was on this TV show.
Yeah.
Remember, it has these characters, not these. And she's like, you're right. Just because it's a more fluid idea of movies or whatnot. She's so passively engaged.
Right. That's fantastic.
So I'm not surprised when she can't get into the full nuanced movie discussion or what we liked or didn't like about a specific thing.
Right.
But I was like, why are you... you're actually listening? She's like, I'll listen to you guys' bullshit. I have zero problem with that. It's fun. It's entertaining. So once you get to the movies, I don't know anything.
Yeah. I think Lindley does I don't know if she does the same thing. I don't know if... I think
Do you think either of them listen to us at like 1.5 speed?
No.
They're just trying to churn through?
I know Steve does.
Steve does?
Yeah, Steve, my co-host on the Cinephiles, he loves to listen to podcasts at 1.5 or 2 speed.
2 speed?
Yeah, I can't do that.
That's...
Oh, yeah, maybe that is too.
Like, I don't know. How are you processing?
He does it 1.5,
yeah,
I guess.
I think you can go down and even scale like 1.25, 1 and whatever, maybe below that as well.
I don't know how you get the jokes. I don't know how you get the vibe of our show going 1.5 speed, but it clearly works for him.
I can understand it with like sports podcasts. I've heard a bunch of people do that.
That makes sense.
Because it's about information gathering.
Right.
This is about more discussion because it's your opinion,
Yeah.
So sometimes you justify it by, I don't know, man, it's my fucking opinion, Sometimes you can't summate into words exactly why you so thoroughly enjoy just some random terrible movie. Just it just speaks to me. Everything you're saying, I understand all the flaws you're pointing out, but where it sings, man, it's a fucking great tune and I love it.
Yeah, fair point.
So I'm happy to slog through what you don't enjoy because I know... Yeah, but this next scene's so much fun.
It's so good.
I don't mind that. It's got enough of those in it.
Do you love Scorsese, man? Is he one of your favorites?
Do you not?
I think there are people who don't, especially after the Marvel. What's your feeling about those? His comments recently about the Marvel movies. Do you give a shit?
Don't care.
Yeah, right.
And honestly, I can't imagine he really cares all that much.
Yeah.
Because he, unlike Coppola, still gets to do movies whenever
Right.
he wants to,
Right.
and he works whenever he wants to, but he gets a full release. The best actors consistently, great writers, great whatever across the board. And even if I don't like a movie, like one that doesn't come up on my list, it's still beautifully shot and it's well acted. It's just the movie's never one I go back to.
It's not. It's never connected with you or whatever.
Well, it's one of those of I walked out going, okay,
Yeah,
you know,
I can understand that.
you have such a massive body of work to me that it doesn't bother me because it's like I don't care because I still believe in you.
Right.
You're still churning out good stuff.
Yeah.
Which
Fair
is
point.
incredibly impressive at his age.
I agree. I thoroughly agree, and because this is apparently the early reviews for Irishman apparently are like this is the greatest thing one of the greatest things he's ever done, and
Right
it's 3.5 hours.
I don't even care. Great, awesome, 3.5 hours. If it's him, like I need to tell this story, and we have to flesh out all these individuals and understand who they are and why you give a shit. 3.5, sure. I would have taken episode 9 3 hours.
Yeah, I agree. They just released it 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Yeah,
I would have done with 3 hours.
Would
of
happily
episode 9. Mm-hmm.
You take an hour to basically lay down the groundwork of the story you want to tell and tie in the threads from the other ones.
Yep.
So we get payoffs and
answer the questions about why Kylo is such an angry person. We still don't know what happened.
Sure, or potentially Rey's lineage, although...
Yeah, that too.
I think Kylo's is more justified. Rey's sometimes it's just, you don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas Kylo's, he lived it, so we could experience it. There are other people that went through it too.
Right. I just didn't know why. We still don't know why.
The Knights of Ren or whatever
Super
it was called.
frustrating. What are the Knights of Ren?
Yeah.
There's so many questions, man.
I know.
They better find a way to tie this thing up right.
I will tell you, though, that trailer at times looked fucking dope.
Yeah, I agree.
At times, it was just... I'm hoping a lot of that is first act. That's my guess on a ton of it. Like when she's running through the woods, that's where she is at the start of the movie.
Right.
Or potentially
training or whatever.
Yeah, by the end of the first act or something. That's not a giveaway. You knew it was going that way anyway.
Yeah.
So that just happened to be the setting. Don't care. But the starships erupting from the ice.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was awesome.
Dude, this big ice planet.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Like, all right, you got me. But then horses, and it was like,
yeah, right. Some of the CG, you're like, whoo. But then other stuff, you're like, oh, this, I can't.
Although, I think it was Alex Akos pointed out on Facebook, because I put that, I was like, you know what? Because Abara put a post up, and it's over at facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show, all spelled out.
Nice.
And please hit us up there. But Joe Abara, who helps us with the show, put up and was like, initial thoughts. And it had like 40, 50 comments or something. And I commented, I was like, I think I'm like everybody else, I'm tentative.
Yeah.
I want to, but there are moments that throw me off. Some of these visuals look at just the spectacle I want to see. And then other times, the horses.
Yeah.
And Alex Akos was like, teddy bears saved the empire. Helped crush the empire. It's like, yeah, but I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Lucas was making it for kids. And I get it. I don't like Jedi now as an adult because of that aspect of the movie.
I agree thoroughly. I
loved it as a kid. I understand why it exists.
And that may be why they put horses and all that kind of, because they're trying to appeal to the age demographic.
Put horses in the last one. That didn't end well for me.
It did not end well. That was horrific.
Is that now like they liberated all the horses, so they're part of the rebellion? It's this little universe wide.
Just because you make a horse do something in service for you that you think is for the right reasons doesn't still mean that you're not still enslaving the horse. So, to me, it's like just because you take the horse out of the pen, you're still making the horse kind of like...
Well, you can't take the ranch out of the horse?
No, I'm just saying...
John, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a drink.
That's for sure. If you got a issue with the horses being used in a horse race, I get that, of course. I understand it, but they're in the barn, they're still getting fed, and maybe they're being treated well. But then you're still using the horse for your own purposes, just like they were using the horse for their own purposes. But you think your purposes are more noble,
more altruistic.
Therefore, altruistic, right? So therefore, your usage of them. But that's all perspective.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And any racehorse is the most pampered horse in the entire world.
Absolutely.
If it's at the Monte Carlo of Star Wars, that horse is so pampered that unless it gets a broken leg, they will do everything in their power to save that horse.
Yep.
Especially, too, once it's done racing, it'll go off and sire.
Right.
And it'll be worth so much money. So that horse is living the good life as far as horses.
Yeah, they weren't sitting in their filth. They had little kids who were cleaning up their poop and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The horses only joined a rebellion because they just didn't want to be in these pens.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
It's not like they've, gave you the bro head nod at the end. Thanks, bro. Thanks. I helped you because you helped me. I got you.
Peace, bro. Peace.
Peace.
Go get them empires. Go get their first order, bro. Peace.
Anyway, but yeah. So Irishman's coming up. We're both jazzed to go see it.
Yeah.
But let's jump into the show, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
Mr. N set the topic for us, and the way the show works is once that topic is set, we go our individual ways and create personal top 10 lists. Show back up here. I'll do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade one apiece. Once we've revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the two of us.
So,
jumping right in. 10, I didn't know what to actually put.
I'm sure.
I wanted to honor a bunch of different things, but I went back to one that I haven't seen actually since college, and I picked the Last Temptation of Christ.
Okay, that's my number 8. So yeah, we can talk about it. Okay.
I took a film class, and we had to do an analysis, and there was like a choice of 10 movies, and I chose this one because it was a Scorsese that I hadn't seen.
Okay.
And
so forced you to see it.
It did, but it also forced me to sit down and see it a few times and like try and understand what he is saying without saying in certain scenes and framing and whatever. So it was the first time I ever sat down and tried to ingest or digest a movie in that fashion analytically on that level where I can't go on someone else's critique. There is no internet to search for other ideas and whatnot to express. Like there was an internet, but not the wealth of now there's 15 sites whenever you want to look up anything.
Yeah.
Then I'm sure it existed, but I wouldn't know how to find it type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It was on a message board somewhere for that very specific type of discussion.
Yeah.
Yes, kids, I lived in a time when there was no internet. I was anti-texting at one point in my life. I was. Just call me. I mean, what's tags? Just fucking call me.
Right.
And then eventually I was like, do not call me like everybody else.
Text me.
Just send me a text. Shoot me an email.
Yeah.
Why we got to talk?
Right. Well, I love I own the film. I own the Criterion version of this one, of course.
Okay.
I like the film a lot because I appreciate it. Obviously, it's based on a book. So the book was first. But I appreciate
which is also based on a book. So
a very good point. Adapted screenplay from an
adaptation of an adaptation of technically an adaptation of what came from God.
Right. The existence of the world.
Oh, this is man's processing the word of God. There's an adaptation upon that adaptation of his. And this is then further.
You think you know the story of Jesus. Let me tell you the story of Jesus. But
who is that?
That's Scorsese. You think you know the story of Jesus. I thought it was so gutsy to do this because at a time when he didn't have to do this, and certainly at a time when the religious right was massively involved in politics. Of
still
course,
are.
Yeah, but I guess you're right. But in this way, it was all still new to us. This idea that this could be an offensive thing and people could protest these films and get people to not go
on this kind of scale
or threaten. Yeah, and threaten
this kind of coordinated an effort.
Right, boycott studios. These threats rather that they came out with to kind of stop the movie from being shown, and so many of them had never even seen the movie. They were just protesting the idea that a movie like this could be made and taking that Christ would have sex with Mary Magdalene in an alternate dream state before he's fully agrees to be sacrificed, which I thought is or crucified, which I think is brilliant. You know why? Because he's a human being.
He would have those thoughts.
He would have those thoughts. Even if you could even, I'll even reduce a little bit more, Matt. He might have those thoughts, and the fact that he might have those thoughts is okay to chronicle in a film.
It's okay to have the theoretical discussion of what would that have been like.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't know. We don't.
Yeah. None of us were the Son of God, and certainly nobody.
You ever heard David Cross's bit of we don't actually know what Jesus sounded like? So he's from the South, and he's used it a few other times, but he does this effeminate with a lisp Southern guy. Hey, y'all. We have no idea. I've heard that, the thing is, when that type of joke, I've heard it numerous times. I've heard guys do impressions of presidents that,
oh, yeah.
Here's my McKinney.
Right. You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
You weren't there.
I've seen that specific joke done poorly, and I've seen it done excellently.
Yeah.
Excellently, because it's just you don't know.
Millard Fillmore.
You don't have the slightest clue. We don't know anything about it. So to have the idea of what would that have been like.
Yeah.
If he is man, he would have these dreams.
Yeah, sure.
What would these dreams be like?
And I love the cast. I mean, David Bowie is a fucking Pontius Pilate.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe, yeah.
Harvey Keitel is Judas. Barbara Hershey.
Hershey, that's right.
Yeah, Barbara Hershey as Mary Magdalene.
From Hoosiers.
Yeah. So many things about the film that I thought were very, very interesting. And if you haven't seen it because of some religious hang-up or some issue with that, if you're a cinephile, I think you have to see it and make up your own mind. You can still hate it. Just at least watch it.
Still, I mean, technically there can be no image of Muhammad within anything. That's why that Charlie Hebdo or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because they put a cartoon of him on the front page of their, I don't know what it is, like a monthly type of thing or a bi-monthly. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. Sometimes with religion, man, you just don't violate certain rules for people.
I know. It's crazy. All right, what's your number 9?
9 is The Aviator.
That's a punt.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your 8?
8 is Cape Fear.
That's my 10. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
2 out of the same bottom 3.
Yeah. Not bad. Going along well.
Yeah.
I really love this film. This is top 10. So I enjoy all of these films from Scorsese, but this one is the one I go back to the least. So therefore, that's why it's my number 10. Even though it features one of the most chilling portraits of a killer that you can have in Robert De Niro's Max Cady. And Juliette Lewis is great. That's her first, I think, feature film. No, I think it's her. No, that wasn't because like one of the Vacations was her first feature film, I think. And then you have Nick Nolte and Jessica Lange. All of this involved in this remake of a 50s film with Robert Mitchum again, and I think Kirk Douglas. I think. Gregory Peck. Gregory Peck. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, De Niro playing some Appalachian felon, just counselor. Yeah. And in no way does it sound like he's doing some shitty accent or something.
Nope.
That reminds me of so many people that I have met. So many people. Look, I lived in West Virginia.
That's scary, man.
Well, not really, but there were a couple kids in my school that I'm sure grew up to some version of this.
Yeah.
There are also some kids that ended up doing amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
And a few of them that I still talk to. Hell, one was a junior Olympian. Like a few have gone on to do insanely well for themselves.
Yeah.
But there was also, I always broke it down to, you had like the one smelly kid in class. Mm-hmm. There was always some years no, but I moved around a lot. But anyway, so in West Virginia there was usually 2 to 3 smelly kids. So there was just a little bit more poverty.
Yeah.
They don't get to shower as much or wash their clothes as much or whatever else.
Right.
Good kids. Nothing wrong with them.
It's a tough situation.
But at the same time, if you grow up within some sort of poverty, you're more apt to end up within the system of some kind.
Yeah.
Eventually, you just are. Because you come to lean on the system.
You smelling my clothes, Matt? You smelling my clothes, Nost?
He's so fucking creepy.
He is super creepy.
It's such a different gear, too, for Robert De Niro.
Yeah, man.
Because you see that in another movie that we'll get to eventually, but this one has a little bit more smarts to it.
Yeah.
There's calculation.
Nothing beats that moment when he rolls out from under the car.
That's so good.
And stares at that dude.
To me, like, Nick Nolte's good in it, but I could also see somebody else in that role.
Yeah.
Juliet is good in it, but I can see somebody else in that role.
Oh, absolutely.
Like across the board. But to me, De Niro is like so indelible from that. You cannot recast him. He was the best.
Yes.
He's a fucking boogeyman.
And the score is great, too.
It is. In that final setting, like he gets all the cinematics done beautifully.
I mean, him speaking in tongues as he dies, fuck me, man.
It's so real.
That's scary as hell, dude. And Nolte's just an idiot. He's just an idiot through the majority of the film. He's a classic Nolte. All that kind of shit.
Exactly. The person keeps stubbing their toe and wondering why this wall's here. Like you understood. You knew that going into it.
Yeah. Move the wall.
No, I can't believe this happened. Really? Really? I hate that. I hate that when that happens, when the person's just like, bleh. It's everything you said you didn't want, and then you did it yourself, and now you're upset that it happened?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, shocker. You knew exactly. You got yourself into this situation then.
Yeah.
It's the only way it happened. Shut up.
All right. That was your number. Wait.
That was my 8. What do you got?
Did I do my number 9? Wait. Oh, yeah. 10, Cape Fear. We already said that.
Mm-hmm.
My number 9, King of Comedy.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay. 8 is Last Temptation of Christ, so we're up to your 7.
My 7 is Casino.
Oh, that's a punt.
Is it?
Yeah. For me, it is.
Okay.
Which number 6?
My 6 is, this will be a punt, Departed.
No, it's my number 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Departed.
As I've said other times, look, it's excellently done. It's just when I go back for Scorsese's, I go back for these others first. And
this is more of a populist film for me, which is why I agree with you. I don't go back and see this. I will go back and see this one, but it's like I could put it on a Saturday afternoon and go like clean the fucking house. It's not one that I have to sit down and like really savor. Departed isn't. So that's why it's lower on my list.
I mean, maybe Casino should be at 6 and that at 7 because I will watch Casino more.
Okay, up to you. Measure your list if you want to switch it around.
Well, in essence, it's the same placement type of thing. 6, 7, 7, 6. They're the same, but I'd probably do like Casino a little bit better than that. But Departed, top to bottom, great cast. 2 excellent performances from DiCaprio and Matt Damon. Jack Nicholson is an excellent Whitey Bulger.
Martin Sheen,
Mark Wahlberg, Alec Baldwin, like top to bottom. It's stellar cast, and he gets great performances from all of them. I just wish it had the oomph, like it comes in as a 10-ton nuke, and it hits me as like a half a megaton.
I agree with you 1,000% because the Chinese storyline is a little weird.
Yeah, selling the fake chips.
Yeah, that's so weird. And then the whole thing of Jack going a little too far with I smell a rat, like the weird things he does, you're just like, okay, you're just letting him go. Scorsese's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to control this. Let's just do whatever you want to do. But I think what saves it, though, is Farmiga. And Farmiga doesn't get enough love for what she does in this film. She's fantastic in this film as a person who has to negotiate both these two idiots and figure out where she belongs in between these two fools, right? One is like the future I'm supposed to have, and the other one is she legitimately has feelings for. And you don't know if it's beyond like taking care of a sick puppy, but there seems to be a real affection between them. He's just too dangerous for her to be with because he's got way too many things to work out before he can be a viable partner to her life.
True. I told them I would be indisposed at this time. Unfortunate for you, phone caller. No, that is a contractor. I just told him, I was like, I can't, if you're calling me back, just know that I'm out for these 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll call him back in the morning. It's all right. It's my 7. So then my 6 is your punt Casino.
Okay.
But what do you got next?
Where am I at? My number 7?
Yep.
We just said The Departed. My number 6 is The Aviator.
Oh, all right. The punt from me earlier.
Yeah. I love this film.
That's one that I don't think I'll go back for.
Really?
I mean, I have a bunch of times. I've seen it a bunch of times, but now that it's existed in my world more, I'll go back to some other stuff way more often.
I guess I have the reverse experience because when I first saw it, I was like, I wasn't that impressed by it. I didn't like it that much.
Okay.
But it's grown in my estimation as I've seen it as I've gotten older. I've kind of really appreciated and liked it even more, and his struggles and his battles and him like being an unfortunate victim of this thing of his, right? And so I feel a connection to that.
Yeah. Unfortunate victim of a lot of things. His ego.
Yes.
Delusions of grandeur, which
to be
were
fair,
well-founded.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but to achieve those types of things, you do have to exist on that level.
Yeah.
That things always, of course, they go right for me. I just have to doggedly push for it.
Yeah.
And it can happen so long as you can fill in the gaps around it. The aspects of it, like finding out about Howard Hughes and seeing how he became the individual that I heard stories about when I was a kid, really. Right. And then later on, it's like, he was big in Hollywood and he was this young buck up and coming that the establishment didn't like type of thing. Yeah. It's interesting. Nah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's a snapshot of Hollywood at that time, which I really enjoy. Yeah. Great performance of John C. Reilly. I mean, his battle with Alan Alda is classic and fantastic. But I think it's the first window we have into what DiCaprio can do as an actor. Obviously, we saw it in Gilbert Grape and whatever, but like the transition is always an interesting transition. Can you make that jump from teen actor to like adult actor or young adult actor, or actor in your 20s, and like get that kind of attention or garner that kind of Oscar acclaim? And it certainly felt in this movie that he was discovering the tools that we were going to see come later on in his career. But I thoroughly loved what he's able to do here, and the relationships that he develops with Cate Blanchett, who won an Oscar for playing Katharine Hepburn, and Kate Beckinsale, who plays Ava Gardner. All this stuff is great. And then you have the way Scorsese shoots the moments where he has to like repeat things in the spotlight in the dark. It's like, oh my God, that must be what it feels like. You cannot control yourself and you feel completely isolated and alone. And it just goes over and over and over again because you're trying, like you said, the stubbing of the wall. The toe is stubbing the wall, trying to put a hole through that wall so it can see, and it can't. It's interesting.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to learn that this is never going to happen no matter what I do.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's but if you have a specific type of, condition or whatever the case is, that sometimes your brain can only actually, the biochemistry dictates that it now is locked in laser-like on this, and the rest can't. It doesn't make sense, doesn't compute, so you just focus on the one thing that makes sense to you in that given moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so that was your 6?
Yeah.
All right, so my 5 is a punt from you earlier, King of Comedy.
Okay.
Because I think it's even truer today than when it was put out.
That's absolutely a fair point.
If a dude did that, kidnapped somebody but they didn't get hurt, whatnot, and they went away, got a 6-year sentence, and they only had to do 2.5, they're still around in the public consciousness enough. If you could have that where 90-something million people saw you and you did still have event television type of.
Yeah.
But you had today's connectivity. So they did the equivalent version like Super Bowl or something. And we all knew who they were. And in that moment, when they watch him on the screen, they're laughing at the jokes. They think he's funny.
Yeah.
So they kind of believe that he was right and justified. And technically, all he did was put this man in another room at gunpoint. Yes, it's awful, but 2.5 years in. But never had any intent of hurting the individual.
Right.
And that person would be so stupid famous 2.5 years later that they could spend a career out of it, and they would live on Twitter and Instagram. And would they go the route of people like them for who they are? I don't think Pupkin would. So he's just become more and more shocking maybe eventually to try and garner more and more of the attention.
Well, that's the way it works, isn't it? Just because you get what you want doesn't mean you're satisfied.
Yeah.
Especially a
or
person
that's what
like
you
that.
actually wanted.
Right. A person with that kind of psychological makeup, as soon as they get what they want, and the way they got it too, like he didn't work for it.
No.
All he did was like stumble into it by essentially being a stalker to Jerry Lewis's character.
But every once and again, we don't care.
Right.
Collectively, is we got a bunch of people earning it. Here's the guy that just sprung up out of nowhere.
Yeah. True.
We like those too.
Look at the Kardashians. Built a whole empire off a sex tape. So, it's true. It comes out of nowhere. You never know what it's going to be, and then boom.
While true, I would imagine,
Yeah?
Jenner was their father, who was world famous.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah, but no one was watching
their dad
the
was part of the OJ trial.
Yeah, sure.
We knew his name from that.
Sure. But Paris Hilton, who was their friend, was more famous.
Yes.
And they would show Kardashian hanging out with Paris, but she couldn't get anything off the ground. It wasn't until the sex tape, and it became this fascination, and the way it all came about, and then the connection, blah, 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 blah. I don't care what they fucking say now and how to try to spin it or the PR, these fucking KK stands. I don't care. The truth is, this is what actually happened.
KK stands? What?
Yeah, the Kim. That's what they tried to call their brand was
KK.
Yeah, KKK was what they tried because they're dumb.
Kim Kardashian Cosmetics with a K.
No, it was Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney. They were trying to. That's what they were trying to call their. People were like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So, and their pushback was, "Well, we're trying to change the connotation to be a positive."
Yeah, there you go. When did this story happen?
This was a few years ago.
Was it? That's how little I pay attention. I've never heard of this
God
at
love
all. In any moment of my entire, I've never paid attention.
I'm a terrible fan of gossip.
Yeah, because they seem to mix it up quite a bit as a family with basketball players. That's my only understanding on any level.
Do any of them do well, the basketball players, when they're hooked up with that family? No.
Well, certainly not Khloe.
They're coolers, man. That family is coolers for anybody outside that family.
Jury's still out on Ben Simmons.
How about Lamar? Good God almighty.
Khloe, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But whichever Jenner it is, she dated Blake Griffin and Ben Simmons.
Well, that's fair, but I don't think the Jenner thing applies. I think it's Kardashian. Family. They're half.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's only half as powerful.
Then we're talking about Khloe, and yes, she. Yes.
Yeah.
She is Tristan Thompson. He got a payday. Good for him.
I guess so. Yeah. This has been your gossip minute with the Top 10 show.
About something I admit I knew nothing of.
Unless it's basketball, right?
But so the King of Comedy, it just. Yeah. when you watch it now, you're like, this seems so real. And I'm sure at the time this was kind of absurdist on some level.
Yeah.
And I could totally see this happening.
Well, and listen, I want to make sure I say this correctly because I want to walk the line here to be respectful, but also be legitimate in what I'm saying. Sometimes I've had fans reach out to me and be like, how can I get to where you're at? Like, how can I get hired by Collider to do this? Like, why? What have you done to get hired by Collider out of the blue from nowhere? That's the thing. I didn't get hired out of the blue from nowhere.
True.
I was lucky to be in Los Angeles. I was lucky that Christian Harloff asked me to co-host or asked me to be a guest on a podcast. Then eventually he left that podcast, asked me to co-host. Then I pitched podcasts around to other people to try to create it. By the way, I wasn't paid a dime, but then I networked, met people, became friends with people, things of that nature. And then eventually, through my hard work, through my determination, through the quality of the product I was producing, I got hired full time at Collider. So I'm not going to hand you shit. And so when people go and say that to me or send me emails, I really get like, fuck is wrong with you? Work for it. Find a way to get noticed.
Fuck yeah.
It isn't just emailing and I go, oh yeah, let's just find. This isn't America's. Even American Idol, you have to go and perform and audition, get picked, and then fight through rounds and rounds and rounds before you get to be the American Idol. And guess what? It still doesn't mean you're going to be successful. The third person kicked off. Like Kelly Clark, or like Carrie Underwood could end up being way more successful than you just because you won the thing.
Now, at this point, if you want to make it past those cut process early on, especially, just know a producer. So email me. I'll happily take your bribe. What do you want? What do you want? You want an introduction? Fine, let's set a price.
No one bribes me.
We'll talk money off. I can circumvent you. I know enough people in this office.
You could.
This person's, hey, listen, my full voucher on this guy.
Yeah. This guy in Albuquerque.
Hey,
this guy in South Dakota.
I'll tell you this much right now. Roca is scared of him, so he's only going to talk shit about this dude. That tells you how good he is.
It's so true.
It's,
You found me out.
He's going to come out guns a-blazing.
No, I appreciate people's desire to reach out, but you also have to be aware of what you're doing and the situation. You have to read the lay of the land to understand. I appreciate you want to. Now, if you're asking me, hey, can you give me some tips, some guidelines, some pointers? Absolutely. That's no problem. Can you get me a job on Collider? That's brazen and unearned.
True. But send me an email. It's I like bribes at Gmail.
Yeah, bribes at Gmail.
Hit me up. I like bribes at Gmail. And, I will entertain all offers. It's just a matter of price. So that was my 5. What's your 5?
5 is Taxi Driver.
That's my 4.
Okay. I wish I liked this movie more, man.
That's why it's my 4. It's a force of nature.
Yes.
And it's one of those I genuinely think you need to see.
Yes.
I think it's a movie that it's super interesting. It's just as good on its psychological mania type of level and seeing a person devolve into this individual. And it can easily happen now. It could have happened 50 years ago, 100. This is not specific to the era that it's in, and it's got a nice pace to it.
Yeah.
It's just tough to go back and rewatch because you know exactly how this pot boils over.
Right, and you mentioned this. Yeah, right, exactly. And, we had to do it for the Cinephiles. I thought I was dreading it, watching it again, but it is actually a watchable movie. Damn good movie, obviously. But I mean, like, you could go back and watch it again. It's like Clockwork Orange. To me, they're emotional experiences. And so I don't really feel the inclination to put myself through those experiences over and over and over again.
But on both of those movies, Clockwork's a good example.
Yeah.
There are parts that some people find uncomfortable that I'll happily go back and watch.
Okay.
Because that movie especially is just a series of uncomfortable scenes.
It is.
So what is your most...
The rape scene
discomforting.
is the most uncomfortable. Yeah, I hate that scene. It's uncomfortable and unsettling. And with Taxi Driver, it's him taking her to the porn theater.
Oh yeah, that's icky.
It's tragic, because he is so. He does not have this developed ability to connect with someone of the opposite sex in a normal way. So I think he has these self-destructive impulses that appear because he doesn't, as much as he wants to complain about the entire world, he wants to also destroy himself. And here's a perfect opportunity. There is the fact that he even got to go on a date with Sybil Shepherd's character is incredible in itself. But then to get so stupid, do you think bringing her to a porn movie is the way to go about it? It's a self-destructive impulse.
Or it's animalistic in that he knows she likes sex and he likes sex, so let's just have the discussion. Like, he's just so dumb or so naive to think, like, you like food, I like food, let's go eat food. You like sex, I like sex, we should go watch some sex.
You can even break it down even more that, like, because he's surrounded by this particular social strata, this is what works within that social strata. So I use my same technique to a person who's in a separate and I would argue higher social strata. Why isn't it working? And it's because, and she goes with him, by the way. So
more
that's
functional,
interesting.
It is, but I'm sure if we spoke to any of our female listeners, just like us, they've been on bad dates, and they've probably been on more of them.
Right, and just to be nice.
Yeah.
They do. They put
type of thing.
Yeah, they go
you
someplace.
Have to put up with,
yeah.
Like, how many times have you been asked out as a guy? I can on a handful of
maybe
occasions.
Handful when I was younger, when
Mostly.
I was 20s. Yeah,
mostly.
Yeah.
Although one of the most baller things to me once I was just hanging out at the bar with a buddy of mine.
Yeah,
and he was just having a beer too, and I didn't drink at that time. But I was in some of the best shape of my life, and I'm fucking just jacked. And this drunk girl came past, and hot. This was in L.A. This was in Santa Monica on a Saturday night, and just came over and forcefully started making out with me and everything else and whatnot. And then just like, hey, if you want, we can kind of continue the conversation somewhere else, and walked away. And then my buddy just looked at me and was like, that happens to you? And it was one of those of, it doesn't, but you have to play it off of like, every once and again, Every once and again, a 10 does that.
I have a friend who gets hit on all the time. Now he's married now with a child.
Yeah.
But before, he used to get hit on all the time. Piper Paraboo dropped her resume. He was working as a bookseller at Barnes and Noble, whatever, B. Dalton, whatever it was, B. Dalton, that was on La Cienega for the longest time. It's at PetSmart now.
Yeah.
But he was working there in his first job coming here into L.A. in the 2000s, and she took a liking to him to where she dropped her resume with her picture and her number on it in the aisle for him to pick up to call her. And when he picked it up thinking that she had dropped it, she goes, no, that's yours. Call me when you want to go out. This guy got hit on by the way, he didn't because he had a girlfriend, but he got hit on all the time. He would go to Burning Man. I remember this, a couple of my friends, he'd go to Burning Man. 3 women came up to him one time while they were all standing around a fire. They're all high as fuck. 3 women came up and they said to him, we want to have a dick-sucking contest with you as the judge.
Yeah.
And he turned them down. And my friend who was standing next to him, and they both told me the story. He goes, fuck you. Fuck you.
Of course.
That happens to you.
Of course.
And that you turn it down.
Yeah, I know. Move to Los Angeles, people, and you will realize how ugly you really are.
Yeah, it's so true.
It is. It is.
Or how pretty you really are.
The thing is, I've seen that happen. I know a few dudes.
Yeah,
they're that good.
They have that energy. Yeah.
And it's always come so effortlessly.
Yeah.
So now it does because it just happened. It's one of those things.
Makuga gets hit on all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the ladies love him. And why not? He's got a great energy, fun energy.
Yeah.
Seems like a total awesome dude to hang out with.
Hey, I don't put in the effort anymore.
Yeah.
It only happens now like once in a blue moon.
Mm-hmm. I think if I lost weight and got back into my shape like I was before, I might get occasionally hit on or I might get like a little flirting going on. But I'm at that place where I've got my girl. Like I'm ready to settle it all down. So
I stopped a long time ago.
You did?
I mean, it worked out beautifully. Yeah,
right. Catherine's beautiful, man. You're a very lucky man.
Yeah.
She's smart as hell.
I don't have to. I'm nice.
She won't hear this because we're in the movie. She won't hear this.
Yeah, we're well into it. I'm not concerned about that. Okay. I'm still like, I'll say hi and I say please and thank you and all that stuff. I'm polite and it's never forced. Like, hey, thanks, appreciate that. Like, I'm honest and genuine about it. But I don't say, how you been? What's going on with you? Can you believe this? I just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have the energy, and that's a lie.
Yeah,
I don't want to put in the energy.
Is that you don't want to put in the energy? That's what it is. Why would you? You've already got somebody. It's wasted energy.
That's what it feels like.
There's not even an ego stroke out of it, right?
I always assume it's like you're at work. You're moving on from one task to the next.
Yeah, right.
That's when I'm at work. Sometimes I want to talk, but more often than not, just like let the job take over.
Yeah.
Time will pass.
Yeah. I hear you. All right, where are we at?
That was my 4. You're 5. What's your 4?
4 is Casino.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a pun from earlier.
Yeah.
This film has grown for me because same thing with Aviator. I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I didn't like Sharon Stone. I never was a big fan of Sharon Stone at that time.
She is,
because her character's a fucking asshole in this whole movie.
It makes sense though, given who the other characters are in it. But yeah, she makes it tough to watch, not through any fault of her own. She's doing a great job.
She's a good actress. It's a fantastic performance. But for me, she's an unsavory person. But then again, everybody involved in this thing is unsavory in the movie.
Yeah.
Ace is just the least unsavory because he doesn't go off killing people.
Yeah.
His unsavoriness is his micromanaging.
He doesn't have to anymore.
Right.
So we don't see him do it, but he did it to get there. There's no way that he hasn't.
Yeah, it's true. But Pesci's incredible in this movie. Even more so for me than Goodfellas.
Dude, when he pivots to taking her, it's one of those of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
And when he's like defending her and stuff. And you're just like, and you've been in those situations growing up. Like maybe there's somebody who like wants to be with a girl that you're dating and you can't seem to make it work with that girl, but he's going behind your back to like communicate with her and shit. And you're just like, what the fuck? And so watching him do that to Ace, De Niro's character Ace, it's like, oh, you dirty son of a bitch. You dirty, dirty son of a bitch. And then you're going to use her to get to him. And then she becomes an unwitting pawn to both of them.
But as an audience member, you're like, that feels about right.
Yeah.
That feels about right. Seems like what you would do.
Right.
Your other meal ticket is gone. Jimmy Woods wasn't the white knight.
But she legitimately has affection for that guy. As opposed to
for whatever reason, man, he seems slimier than all of them.
I think this happens. I think both men and women have. Have some for some person.
We've both seen it.
Yeah, some person just comes along, shouldn't have any kind of connection to that person, but for whatever reason, they do.
Exactly. This is a damaging relationship, and yet both of you are going to keep colliding into one another until it destroys one or both of you.
Set you both on fire.
Yeah. Good luck. Have fun.
Enjoy that shit.
Yeah. It's like. In Narc, the Leota and Jason Patrick, they show up and there's I assume he's Latino actor. He was just in Ad Astra as one of the Pentagon war guys. He's a solidly working actor for the past like 10 years, but I forgot, that he was in Narc and his girlfriend is a prostitute and whatnot, and she gave him herpes or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So because his dick is burning, he burns, he lights her hair on fire, and he's all whacked out on meth and stuff like that, and they go into a screaming match, and then he walks away. Well, I'm sorry, I fucking love you. Like, just the chaos of it is something that he thrives on. When they're together, it's da-da-da-da-da, and then as soon as she's gone, it's like, that's a good woman right there. I love her.
Is it John Ortiz?
Could be.
Okay.
Usually has a mustache.
Like this guy? Is it this guy? Yeah, John Ortiz. He's great.
He is. He's always good.
Such a great character actor, man. Yeah. Okay.
But then you see that, and it's. I obviously don't know any meth addicts that are, in relationships with prostitutes.
Fair enough.
Hasn't come into my social circles too many times.
Where's that Venn
that I know of? Could be, but that I know of. But I've seen people be destructive in other ways.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So it was one of those it's cartoonish, it's comedic, and yet it's honest.
The herpes can be figurative, man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of person you're with.
Well, but I also know one individual, he came up another time. So when Burns was on the last time.
Yeah.
And we both broke into the character voice, and we explained it to you. He's like, oh, he's the guy that used to work at the Comedy Store because he was just a racist type of thing. Yeah, he got into a little position of power, but it was that type of stuff that would pop up. And you're like, okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, what's your number 3, man?
3 is Wolf of Wall Street.
That's my 3.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, dude, I love this movie. I know you love it too, Matt, so please take the lead on this one.
It was flirting with number 2.
Wow.
Because the rewatchability for me on this one is high.
I'll be honest with you, I thought it might get you to number 1.
No.
Because you love this movie, man.
It doesn't hold a candle to my number 1.
Okay.
Number 1 is that was done.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, okay, this, maybe this, maybe this. And then, but 3 seemed, the rewatchability is just so high.
Yeah.
So high.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of what is going to come up on both of our lists later, which is easily my number 1.
Okay.
I love the ride, and his fall, I think, is more palatable than the fall of the other character that's coming up, where it's catastrophic, but you know he rebounds, whereas you don't know about the other one. And it's this crazy ride of how do you go from this to this?
Right.
And as you're watching the chaos unfold, it all seems very real.
Yeah. Very good point.
Yes, they're cramming a lot in here, or we're seeing a lot of the highlights, like this party and that party and that party. But by all accounts, a lot of this stuff kind of happened, like variations on this same stuff. And they just still do hazing crap to like junior associates or whatever they're called, but they're not officially traders and whatnot. And they haze them and everything, coming in and making bets, wagers of ridiculous size on the most mundane of things because they're playing with sums of money that don't make sense anyway.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it's just like, well, yeah, we'll hire strippers to come in the 80s. The amount of coke and everything else that was flooding around this, New York, what I assume, everything I've ever seen in movies and TV and news reports of the day. Yeah. Lots of cocaine. Very prevalent. You add into that all the drug use. Now you have all this money.
Yeah.
And this does seem like a way for a bunch of, seemingly idiots outside of DiCaprio could manage to fall backwards into boatloads of cash.
Yeah.
It's so good.
At that time. Yeah, I mean, Jonah Hill's fantastic as well. Margot Robbie, what an introduction into the world of film that she has really taken and gone into like the stratosphere with.
One of the most solid working actresses right now.
Yep, a producer too. She's making money hand over fist, man.
Good for her.
Yeah, exactly. Some people take that, some people get that opportunity and don't know how to turn it into branding themselves in a business, and she is a business. She is a brand, Margot Robbie now, and so it's like, boom, that's how you do it, and God love her for that. And of course, I, Tonya really helped giving her credibility overall as an actress.
Well, it just showed she can easily carry a picture, easily carry a picture, and I hope she gets a chance to do it. Plus, that was such an interesting role.
Yeah.
I can see why you gravitate. It's the way more interesting story than Nancy Kerrigan to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could care less.
Because how does someone end up like this? And then the absurdity of the guy that, you need somebody killed. Basically, it's the John Goodman character. But
he's playing Richard Jewell.
He is. That looks good.
That looks good, right?
That looks good.
I know. I
saw him and I was like, good for you, dude. You were so good. And I, Tonya, I've seen him in something else, too.
Oh, yeah?
In between that and I, Tonya. I can't remember what it was. It was more comedic, I want to say.
I think he's friends with Knapsack.
Oh, is he?
I think Knapsack told me, like, he's friends with him, I think. Don't quote me on that, I think. So, yeah.
Well, I'm guessing he was working around this town for a long time.
Oh, probably.
And got his shot, and good for you, because you're good.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway, all right, so that's your number 3?
That's my 3.
Our 3. What's your 2?
My 2 is Raging Bull.
All right. So that's my number 1.
Okay.
So we'll switch on and have an argument about that. We'll have to flip the coin, I guess.
Yeah. Because I don't think either of us is relenting on this one.
Nope.
Yeah, this is...
Raging Bull, it's my number 1. I think this is the greatest performance De Niro is ever going to deliver, no matter what movie you're talking about. I think there's so much that you can pick up from when you're in your 20s through this film, through with your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. I think you're going to see the movie through a different lens every decade of your life.
How to beat a woman across decades is what you're saying?
No.
As you age into the beatings, this is how you got to do it now.
No, it's a matter of like you look at a guy who is in essence an animal, but he's been trained to be an animal to be good in the ring. But his anger gets the best of him. His ego, his pride, his like machismo, what that downfall can lead to. No brother, no wife, stuck in a frickin' dingy nightclub doing Shakespeare for 20 people in a fucking bar after a burlesque dancer. You could have been a giant.
Yeah.
And you were a champion. And this is what you were reduced to because
never knock me down, Ray.
Yeah, that stupid pride. Because your pugnacious nature led you to destroy your brother for a stupid thing you created in your head because you couldn't face the fact that you were a shitty partner, a shitty husband, and a shitty dad. And you instead wanted to take it out on the whole world instead of yourself. To the point where you end up getting hoodwinked by a 16-year-old in some kind of possible sting operation at a club. And you have that moment where you break down in the prison where he punches the fucking concrete, which is incredible. If I ever get the chance to sit down with De Niro, this is the only film I want to talk about. The only film I want to talk for an hour about is Raging Bull.
You don't get to make that choice. At least not yet.
Right.
At least not yet.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fucking Lipton sitting over here. You got to earn it, John.
It's a fair point.
Can't, you show up to the bigs.
I can't just email De Niro and go, this is the only film I want to talk about.
This is all we're talking about. And him for go, no problem, Charlie Rose. I will sit down with you for 1 hour and discuss whatever you like. I like you so much.
Fair point. I wonder if I could ever get De Niro on the deep cut. It would be so hard to do, man. It would take me a year.
I hope you do.
Yeah, I hope you
do.
I think it would take a year at least, or 2 years of wearing them down.
Cool story.
Yeah. Cool story, bro.
Cool story.
And the fact that he shot this in black and white in 1980, like no one was doing this in 1980. And the way he frames boxing is some of the most realistic boxing you'll ever see on screen. The blood on the ropes and the dinginess of those gyms and everything like that. And of course, the relationship between him and his brother and him and Kathy Moriarty, who of course is a young girl that he kind of like seduces to be with him, and sacrifices his current wife for it to be with her. But it's a terrible relationship because he's so possessive of her, because he doesn't have the emotional faculty or vocabulary to understand that he's an insecure person who is destroying everything around him, And how many people listening to us who are in the later years remember their younger years and remember some of the shit they pulled and can connect to this guy in their own way, And so I love the story. And it's kind of a happy ending in that he does have some kind of resolution with his brother. And Pesci's fantastic in this as well.
Yeah.
And Frank Vincent. But in the end, this is what he's reduced to, is being essentially a nightclub entertainer.
Well, he has no other real skill set at this point.
Yeah. He's cheering on a name for the 30 or 40 people who still remember
sleeping
him.
on a cot.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But he's not in prison.
He's not.
He's not in a destructive relationship anymore.
Nope.
He's quit drinking at that point, hasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Even if this is a meager existence by his former standards on some level, it's a happier one.
Yeah.
It's a more stable one.
It's a less dramatic one, and one that doesn't lead to his imminent death in some terrible way.
And you're an old man at this point.
Yeah.
So just ride out what you got, what you can do, enjoy your, the whatever time you have left.
Yeah.
Trade on that name for as long as you can. Good for you. And I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. All right.
So my 1 year 2 is Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, yeah.
See, everything you said about Raging Bull is 100% right. But Goodfellas, I can watch from any moment and watch it to the end. So if it's the last 2 minutes, I'll happily turn it on just to see him like, now I'm one of these schnooks out in the boondocks. Like the other day I ordered, spaghetti and meatballs, and it was
marinara.
With ketchup. And just the indignity to him.
Yeah.
He's used to just stealing whatever the hell he wanted and having wads of cash at all times.
And eating the best food.
Yeah, getting the best table.
Yeah.
Like living a lavish lifestyle, buying a home in cash.
Yeah. And
your wife wants a little cash on the side. All right, how much you need? And then, that transaction happens. But from any moment, from any 1 minute in, great. 20, it literally does not matter. I will watch it. I love that fucking movie.
I love the fucking movie, and you know me. We said it a number of times on top. I love the fucking movie all the way until he starts with the drugs. As soon as he starts with the drugs and that whole sequence with his kid and his
He's
brother.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah,
He's got to have a downfall.
I know.
He has to have a downfall. Otherwise, why am I watching this dude just get away with bloody murder?
Look, I know you're right.
Hours?
I know you're right. It just makes me feel terrible.
I need the emotional. I know.
Yeah.
I know. But it's not like Sharon Stone in Casino where you're fucking stop.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Whereas in this, like, you have no choice. This is exactly your trajectory.
Yeah. But like Michael's downfall, Michael Corleone's downfall, I like his downfall. Because at the end of Godfather 2, that's not a happy ending.
No, but he also
alienated his entire family.
It takes longer to get there.
True, over 6 hours.
Yeah, and it's not as precipitously steep.
Right. Yeah, you don't fall right off the cliff.
Exactly.
And he was the head of the family versus Liotta, who was always
He was never going to be a made guy because,
he was always a worker for the family.
Exactly.
He was not the head of the family. He wasn't Paul Sorvino. But all of it. Like, I love the shit out of this movie from beginning to end, but from beginning until that moment with the drugs and everything. But like, because I mean, I love the idea of the old school shit, like the fact that he never had a phone and homie had to run across the street to give him messages.
Tootie had to run back and forth.
Yeah. Paul Sorvino is like this massive mountain that only moves when he needs to, right? And this idea of like earning your bones and like putting the money. You didn't say a word.
And the youthful exuberance of Henry Hill. As a kid seeing that, like he starts off by parking cars.
Yeah.
And then he has to light some of those cars on fire and whatnot, and he gets pinched for cigarettes. Yeah. I just love when he's talking to the cop. I'm like, no, it's fine.
It's fine. What do you need? I got a couple.
What do you need? You need a little extra for you? Type of thing. Just, it's so good. The introduction to Pesci, his buddy, De Niro does it. Hey, I want you to meet Tommy.
Hello, Henry.
Yeah.
How are you, Henry?
How you doing?
How you doing?
When he walks out of the court,
and
he thinks they're going to be pissed, and they're like, "Hey, pop this cherry! Hey, you didn't squeal. You did. You're fine. You're fine. You had to do this. You're slowly becoming one of us." But he could never be a made guy, so that's what makes it so heartbreaking.
It's a fucking tragedy, man, because Jimmy Conway
he's Irish.
But he's also like so good at this world.
He is.
And he's tipping everybody. So everybody loves Jimmy because Jimmy's got a great personality. He's gregarious. Right. And he's also giving money.
The guy that tips you $20 to keep the ice cold.
Exactly. Right, exactly. So, but then what he ends up is he gets older. He's a fucking old man with those big glasses and trying to hustle still at the end with the dresses and everything.
Oh, the dress. Well, that was to murder her.
Yeah, of course it was. But this is still within what he's trying to do to survive, which is like steal the wedding.
He's a rat.
Yeah, he's a rat.
Yeah.
As cool as he was, he ends up a fucking rat.
Well, more so, he's a rat in a fucking cage type of thing. He knows he's surrounded on all sides.
Yeah.
And this is slowly collapsing down upon him. So he's trying to lash out against it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Pesci gets, killed, and Liotta ends up fucking witness protection like a rat of a different kind.
He actually becomes the rat.
Yeah. And Bracco is great. I mean, those scenes with him and Bracco are just fucking excellent. From the beginning when they go on the date to where she goes and fucking confronts him.
I love the waking up and she's got the revolver.
That's it.
In his face.
Here's what I'll tell you, Matt.
Karen.
This is a window.
Karen. What are you doing? His eyes are so sunk into his head from all the drinking and drugs. Karen.
Just tell me a name.
Then he finally gets the gun. What are you, fucking stupid? Such good acting. When he beats the crap out of her neighbor.
Oh, my God, with the gun.
Yeah, it goes over. Just boom.
That's fantastic.
Boom. And then the two guys are like, that are next to him.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to beat the shit out of a wimpy wasp, motherfucker?
It's so raw. It's like, basically, it's the 70s punching the 50s and 60s in the face. Because he's like waspish idealism.
Come here, Pat Boone.
Yeah, no. Exactly. It just comes over. Pap! Just right in his grill. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I love it to pieces.
That movie's the best.
And she's sexy as fuck when she's on top of him, to be honest with you, with the gun.
Oh, yeah, no. She is exuding.
Yeah.
They have a hell of a chemistry.
Yeah. Bracco is hot in that movie, man.
Without a doubt.
All right, well, that's our separate Martin Scorsese top 10 films. We're going to compile the list now and count it down for you fine people.
And see if I can get Drew's list.
Drew's list. Do you want me to write while you look up Drew's? Oh, no, wait. I guess we got to do that.
Perhaps. I'm going to it again. You try and pull it up on the website.
Okay.
Because it's not working on the mobile. I might be able to access it through the app, but the app could be one of the worst apps that I use, and I just stopped using it because it's easier to log on.
Okay.
It always does this. No, not.
Yeah, because it always has to verify. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it logs you out immediately, and then when you get in there, it's a different interface than the website.
Yes.
It's just annoying. But at the same time, it does give us direct interactivity with a ton of different fans, so it's got its utility. I'm not complaining about it. Just that aspect of it. Why isn't it a seamless transition from one to the other?
Yeah.
Or if John logs in right now, there's a good chance that he logs me out. So the next time I log in, I have to log in.
Right.
It has all these weird little quirks of, it's fine, it's just slightly annoying.
Their security features, can't argue that.
True.
All right.
Are you in?
I still have to verify this device. I have to log in again.
Oh, yeah, to your regular email.
Yeah.
They send you an email for that, and then you have to.
I don't know why it keeps doing this over and over again.
It does.
It's so frustrating.
Isn't it? It's just one of those of, this makes no sense, guys.
Yeah.
Is this really
why is
the
this
way that we're going to do this? Well, I guess the first question is...
here we go. All right, I got in, finally.
Are you willing to relent at all on Raging Bull, or are we flipping a coin?
I think we're flipping a coin.
Because the excitement in your eyes as we discussed all those Goodfellas scenes was palpable.
Yeah?
Was palpable.
It was. But only because you purposely try to be unpalpable about Raging Bull to influence my decision.
Well, I don't know that I have that same kind of giddiness that I do about Goodfellas, where I can describe every scene in such vivid detail that I can bring it back to pick a scene. Pick a scene. I can literally do it. I know that movie backwards and forwards.
You do?
So it doesn't even matter.
Okay.
Like in the car, and Pesci's trying to get Henry to go on the date. Just come on, they're lighting that bar on fire for the insurance money because they bankrupted by buying all the booze at fucking market value and turning around and selling it out the back. And it's fine. We just declare everything for bankruptcy. And they went inside that, the tiki-ish vibe type of thing. Yeah. They're stuffing fucking oiled rags up into it and whatnot. Come on, you should just come.
Right. I don't see the email that he sent to his list. Did he not send his list?
He did not. Well, I messaged him back saying,
okay.
Hey, you've got, although I don't see that on here.
Okay.
Which is weird. I will scroll up. Here it is. I emailed him there and said, just a reminder to get it in. No, he never responded.
Okay. All right.
Well, Drew, just send it to us whenever you get the opportunity, and we will happily read it on air.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I sent the reminder yesterday.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so do we need to flip a coin on this?
Yes. I'm not going to relent.
Let's see. Is this the right one or is this the weighted one?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, it's the same one that's weighted. Unlike you, I understand what the coins. Here we go. So we're good to go.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
I'll do the little shimmy shakes. I don't know what's on top.
All right.
And then we go on best 2 out of 3 or just straight 1 up?
No, straight 1 up. I'm cool. Because we're short on time for me.
That's true.
So
now,
make sure you flip it. What's you got? What you got?
That is Superman.
What does that mean?
That is you.
Oh! Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
I mean, because we're strapped on time, I'm not going to fight you, but this is sacrilege.
Wait, you get so if the thing had worked out for you, you were fine with it? I'm confused.
On other weeks, I just know that 100% there is no wavering for me. That is number one.
Right.
I can't be talked into anything else, so it violates.
But then why'd you even flip the coin?
Well, because there's no other way, and we are under a time constraint, so you got to do what you got to do. 3 is done, so our top 3 are done.
All right.
Taxi Driver was 4-5.
Yeah. What's Casino? Oh, Casino's lower for you.
Casino is 6.
So Taxi Driver, yeah, makes sense.
Casino was
4 for me.
4-6. Yeah, that's higher than King of Comedy.
Okay.
So go Casino, then King of Comedy.
Yeah. Rupert Pupkin.
And then we both have Departed next.
Oh, yeah, I have that in a 7. Oh, I had Aviator at 6, but I have Departed at 7.
It's 7-7 versus, would you say Aviator 6? 7-7 versus 6-9.
Oh, 7-7.
Yeah, I would say 7-7.
Yep. Departed. Did we have any that weren't on our lists?
No.
That's pretty cool. Wow, all 10 of ours are on each of those lists, just in different places.
Yeah, Cape Fear and Last Temptation of Christ.
Respect that. All right.
Where'd you have Cape?
10.
Last Temptation?
8.
Okay, we got the same thing again. I would say Cape Fear still over Last Temptation, personally.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to fight you on that one.
Okay, good to go.
Because I got Raging Bull in the morning.
And then we got shout-outs after that, people.
Yeah,
so
don't turn it off after this. All right. The top 10 Martin Scorsese movies, yeah. At number 10.
The Last Temptation of Christ.
At number 9.
Cape Fear.
At number 8.
The Aviator.
At number 7.
The Departed.
At number 6.
The King of Comedy.
At number 5.
Casino.
At number 4.
Taxi Driver.
At number 3.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
At number 2. And the number one rightfully placed Martin Scorsese movie is
Raging Bull.
Are you talking to me? No, that's Taxi Driver. What's Raging Bull? You fuck my wife?
Exactly. And why is this number one? You know? You're hesitating.
I don't even know a line from Goodfellas.
Yeah. Oh, we just went through a bunch of them.
Fair enough.
What am I, a clown?
No,
huh? Am I
do I
here for your
amuse you?
music?
Anyway, there you go. That's our top 10 Martin Scorsese films. Do we have a Drew Ends list? We don't have a Drew Ends list. All right,
no,
Drew.
I'm going to look through our email again real quick.
Okay, Drew. Well, Drew won't hear this in time, but if Drew sends his list, maybe one of us will record his list and edit it on to the show. So we'll stop here. Okay, and then we're back.
And we should have stopped earlier. It's number 5.
Right.
Forgot to do that.
Well, I'll find a way to do that since I'm editing these things anyway. I'll find a way to add some. But if you want to, let's do something wild right now. All right. That's our number 5. So we'll be back after these words from our sponsors for the top 10.
Hey, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed those quick words from our sponsors. We thoroughly appreciate them coming on. Let's jump back into this list.
Sounds good. All right. So, Drew, thank you so much for suggesting this topic. We'll wait for your list.
Yeah, I don't have it on either of our 2 email accounts either.
Okay, fair enough. All right. All right. Do we want to do shout-outs?
Yeah, so we'll jump right into shout-outs. And our thanks goes out to each and every one of you. We have to go through. There's a tremendous number of names, and we're all so thankful. We're both so thankful for all your support is what I meant to say. It's great. We add more and more patrons every month, and we keep working harder and harder to get you guys extra little perks, extra little stuff. We have announcements eventually in the very near future about upcoming live events, so stay tuned. And that is legit. We are just waiting to hear back about specific dates from 2 different venues. That's it. That's all we're waiting on. So once we have a concrete contract, done deal, because both of these will issue a contract we will sign, send back, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
And that should be in the very, very, very near future. And then we're going to jump in. If you guys want to hear your name or participate in any of the shows that we do over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10, head over. And now let's jump into the shout-outs. Would you like to start us off, friend?
Sure. Matthew Hasso.
Christopher Brockman.
Andrew Hayes.
Corey O'Connor.
David Mitchell Baker.
Drew Inns.
Mackenzie Horner.
Mike Barrington.
Stephen Anderson.
Wiley Todd.
Willie Logie.
Christos Alexakos.
Yeah, man. Andrew Marker.
Andrew Nally.
Andy Tan.
Angela Dashner.
Anthony Castelnova.
Ashley Prowls.
Ben Cartwright.
Bernie Knapp.
Billy Gilliams.
Bobby Michael.
Brandon Monroe.
Cameron Chapman.
Chris Lemke.
Clay Williams.
Cody Rexford.
Daniel Chaput.
Daniel McCarty.
Darren Bush.
Ed Buskirk.
Ellis Menchaca.
Eric Bloor.
Eric Rebner.
Frank Montoya.
Jeff Kelly.
George Menchaca.
Hans Eskelson.
Jeremy Metz.
Joe Farrelly.
Jonathan Caro.
Joseph Burtwhistle.
Joshua Stetz.
Josh Mabry.
Johanna Linavirta.
Justin McDonald.
Keith Below.
Keith Fitzgerald.
Kevin Fuss.
Kristen Kurtz.
Lawrence Witt.
Louis Berrigan.
Mark Fawcett.
Mark Menchaca.
Oh, man. Matt Hall.
Mitchell Burrell.
Neil Blackie.
Philip Hunt.
Robert Haley.
Ryan Krupa.
Ryan Nem.
Sean Brennan.
Steve Schlackebeyer.
Sujayanth Fernando.
The Blast from Our Past podcast.
Zach Butts.
Adelardo Fuente.
Alex Ramsey.
Alex Russell.
Aaliyah Moore.
Ahmad Ali.
Andres Mendoza.
Anthony George.
April Rybacki.
Asa Denning.
Ben Quirk.
Ben Archambault.
Blake Gaunt.
Blake O'Brien.
Brian Akins.
Cameron Belgrade.
Chris Cabrera.
Chris Consiglio.
Chris Judge.
Christopher McIntyre.
Cody Seal.
Corey Trainer.
Cody Markham.
Dale Varley.
Dan Petraglia.
Dan Somerville.
Deborah Torres.
Drew Burkhart.
Dwayne Joseph Burke.
What's up, Dwayne? Dylan Bullard Dempsey.
Dylan Johnson.
Dylan Yoon.
Edward Dobbins.
Eric Stevenson.
Gareth Weldon.
Gunnar R.
Haley Morton.
Ian Brick Beltran Lopez.
James Appleby.
Janvia Canizar.
Jason Bradshaw.
Jason Leal.
Jeff Saliba.
Jeremy Bowers.
JIC 317.
Nice. Jim W.
Joe Ibarra.
Joey Anthony.
John Dowse.
John Keefe.
Joseph Viola.
Josh Sachs.
Justin O'Neill.
Keith Archer.
Kelly W. A. Along.
Kristen Smith. Hey.
Christian Veselchich.
Kyle Beckworth.
Kyle Feller.
Mallory Garrett.
Marcel Behrman.
Marcus Davenport.
Matt Hannigan.
Matt Simmons.
Matthew Poland.
Maurice Robinson.
MF Doom.
Michael Kelly.
Mike McDade.
Michael Schmerer.
Nathan Leonard.
Nick Francis.
Nicholas Smith.
Nizar Alabasi.
Noel Kelleher.
Pat Buffamonte,
Patrick Mullen,
Peter Ross,
Phil Neglia,
Philip Renshaw,
Ravi Prasad,
Reagan Lovig,
Rob Harris,
Roque Orellana,
Ruben Enriquez,
Ryan M. Brandos,
Scott Zarnecki,
Shane Noble,
Simon Brouillard,
Spencer Freightway,
Tim Begg,
Tim Franco,
Timothy Berg,
Wayne Murphy,
Victor Whiskey Island,
Xerian or Giggleson,
AJ Barrera,
Aaron Carroll,
Abby Lugo,
Alexander Mazonia,
Andre Constanesco,
Andrew Herbs,
Constantinesco. Yeah. Andrew Herbs, Andrew O'Day,
Andy Ortiz,
Archie Bear,
Martin Tuttle, AZ Badfish,
Blair Simpson,
Bobby Carney,
Brandon Caridi,
Charlie McKenna,
Chelsea Lewis,
Chris Jones,
David Gregson,
Dimitri Melot,
DJ Red Hot Cox,
Eric Bruin,
Evan Bistrom,
Evan Zoller,
Giancarlo Simonetta,
Garcia Romero,
Houston Bodley,
Ian Horner,
Isaiah Hoffman,
Jacob Pullen,
James Leggett,
James Paddy,
James Trapani,
James Winstead,
Jen Kemp,
Sup Jen, Jim Payne,
Joe H.Y., Joe H.Y.,
yep, Johannes Schmidt,
Jonathan Chase,
Jordan Wilcher,
Josh Lawrence,
Josh Murphy,
Joshua Williams,
Joshua Wynn,
Juan Reyes,
Julian Key,
Catherine Samuels,
Ken Rails,
Christian Lundgaard Kjoller,
Kyle Spahn,
Laura Deverson,
Luke Allison,
Luke Larson,
Magali Dore,
Matt Chipping,
Matthew Lee Cravens,
Mike Shea,
Nathan Williams,
Nick Dornoff,
PJ Patrick Cambo,
Philip Lane,
Reese Seaborn,
Rob McDonald,
Rodrigo Valverde III,
Ryan McKenna,
Scott Lynch, I think. Yeah.
Scott Kohler,
Seamus Braytag,
Sean Scott,
Seth Shearer,
Stacy Flores,
Stephen Armstrong.
I shall not say his name, the Cinephiles.
Thank you, Steve. Thomas Price,
Thorsten Amuller,
Tim Reimert,
Timothy R. Williams,
and Will Morse. All right, on. That's a big list. Thank you so much to everyone who's contributing and helping the Top 10 show.
Now, do you think Steve goes from double time to regular time to hear his voice or his name and regular speed, or does he?
I'll be honest with you, I bet he slows it down. So he
you think it was like half speed?
Out. Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
The Cinephiles. Yeah, I think he totally, absolutely does that. Yes. That's my personal opinion.
So our eternal thanks to everybody that supports us over at patreon.com/the top 10. We have all kinds of different stuff, but starting with next week, after you guys hear this, we will have a video for you guys out there. It's all thanks to you, to your support. We reached out, got a little partnership going with Collider.
Yeah.
Said to them a little something. They said something back, and we said bingo, bango, bongo. We got us a deal. And so that comes out for the Patreon members, minimum a week before everybody else on Tuesdays, and we'll have a link system set up for you guys. You can go and watch it there and be good to go. Our thanks to all of you that support us. And if you'd like to join the discussion there, I gave you the address, our facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show with the number 10. Hit us up over there. All kinds of great discussions going on. Me on Twitter at Matt Nost, MATTKNOST.
Me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Look, it's always a blast to have you guys come along with us on the show. And as Matt has been saying numerous times on the last few weeks, we got live events coming up, and we got a lot of changes, a lot of new things coming down the pike. And of course, Collider, our debut next week, back on Collider. Dropping the bombs, dropping the F-bombs, dropping the whole nine, maybe even bringing in the drum again to get Corey and Cody and Adam involved in the show.
Who's this Corey? We got a third guy in the mix.
Yeah, I called Adam Eric the other day in my head. Anyway, we're going to have it's going to be so cool to be back on the Collider brand and doing our thing and having the show be its own show.
You'll get to see this beard on that week only because I'm shaving off for the day after we record.
Oh, wow. So
I
one
grew it
more
out
week?
for Christmas, for Halloween.
Oh, what'd you go? What are you going as?
Fat Thor. So I let this get as long, as scraggly as I can take it in 2 months.
Who's Catherine? What's she playing?
She is Captain Marvel.
Oh!
It's all for my nephew gets to pick Halloween.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we all choose something within that.
Will you have that up on the social media?
Yeah, I can take a picture.
You
we
should.
did Incredibles last year.
Yeah, you guys should take a picture of both.
I did Mole Man.
Everyone. Yeah.
I made my own costume.
Oh, Mole Man.
I did Mole Man.
Nice.
Mr. Incredible gone.
Wait, you mean the Underminer?
The Underminer. I'm sorry.
Right.
Thank you. So I already had a hard hat, so I spray painted it brown, and I had a light that I got for the front, and I got overalls and made my own cape.
I love it.
I didn't have the claw prosthetic hands. I'm like, look, I've already done a lot for this.
Right.
We have to draw a line somewhere. It's for a 5-year-old. Now he's a little older. All right, fine.
The Underminer.
But I had to buy just like a sweater type of thing, and I already have a Henley, so I'm just going to put like a pillow underneath, and I've got flannel pants. I don't have Crocs, but I'll wear sandals.
Yeah.
I got a pair of beat-up old sandals.
That's perfect.
And I bought Mjolnir, like a small one that I can give to my nephew when the night's over. Done. Easy. I already own most of this wardrobe.
Smart.
Perfect.
Very smart. Very smart.
But it is time. This thing's driving me nuts.
All right. Well, there you go. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Top 10, and we will talk to you next week with our brand new show and our debut back on Collider. Take care, everybody. Until then.